Today I'm going to show you how to dehydrate apples. They are an awesome snack and they're so easy to do. First thing we're going to do is wash all of our apples and then we're going to start cutting. When cutting up your apples, you can either core and slice and peel them all manually. You can use a mandolin, or my preference is to use an apple peeler and core. I put the apples onto the spokes, I turn the wheel. When it gets to this part here, it will start peeling the apple. This part here will core it, so it does it all in one go for me. And just keep turning until you get all the way through your apple. You're going to take this whole piece off. You'll notice your core is gone. Put it onto our cutting board and just cut it in half, and it gives us perfect slices. Lay them out onto your dehydrator tray. Do the same thing for the other side. All of these leftovers we can just throw into our compost. Take off your core and then just pull this back, release it so that you can move on to your next apple. Go ahead and do all of your apples. Once all of your apples are loaded onto your trays, you're going to go ahead and put your trays onto your dehydrator. All of the apples are on there loaded. We're then going to take our door and close it up. Turn on our settings and we're ready to go. For dehydrating apples, you want to set your temperature at 130 degrees. And for dehydrating apples, you want to dehydrate them between 3 to 6 hours. My Excalibur food dehydrator has a timer, so I can just set this to 3 hours and it will go off when it's completely finished. And after the 3 to 6 hours, you want to check on them. My personal preference is actually to dehydrate them for 10 hours. I personally prefer them to be much more crisp and crunchy, but this is just a personal preference. So dehydrate them for 3 hours first, and then check on them, see what you think. If they either have too much moisture or you want them a little bit more crispier, then you can put them in for a longer time. Once it has finished dehydrating, we're going to take off the door, and you want to take a look at your apples and you want to feel them. They should be feeling very kind of crisp. They should be brittle. I dehydrate mine for 10 hours, so mine are going to be quite brittle. If you're only doing yours 3 to 6 hours, they're going to be more flexible than this, so you should be able to bend them. But you don't want to feel any moisture at all. The other thing we're also going to do is, they're still warm to the touch because we just took them out of the dehydrator, is you want to let them sit for about a half hour so that they can cool before you put them into your storage container. If you put them into your container right away while they're still warm, the moisture from them being warm is going to create mold and cause your apples to go bad. So let them cool for a half hour and then we can start putting them in our containers. Once they have cooled for a half hour, you're going to take your tray out and then you're going to just take all of your apples and just start putting them right into your storage container. Traditionally, I like doing jars, but for apples, if I put them in jars, because of their shape, they don't really fit in very well and they're sometimes hard to get out. So I tend to do plastic bags. Plus, we also go through them so quickly, they don't really last that long, so I'm not really worried about long-term storage. If you wanted to keep these for several months or longer, like years, then you would be better off doing a glass jar and putting in an oxygen absorber. That will help keep your food going for much more longer. The other thing you want to do is also label your container so you know what you put in there. I have apples in here. I also wrote down the variety. Each variety has a slightly different taste, and as you experiment with apples, you'll find your favorite ones. Also, make sure you write your date, so if again you're doing this for long-term storage, you can rotate your food easily.